but today's live video is about the summary and snapshot of some of my work that I have compiled. So here is a summary on the work function analysis, which is minimum energy. It is related to threshold frequency, threshold wavelengths via different results. These are the units used to express the work done and the work function. Then we have IV graph corresponding to photoelectric effect. Then concept of saturation photocurrent, which is number. Then we have concept of intensity of light, which is a function of the number of photons incident by the source. Then it's IV graph. Then we have another question on calculation of induced EMF in a loop, its relation with the rate of change of area and magnetic field, and its relation with the self-inductance of a given circuit. Then we have concept for equivalent self-conductance in series and parallel. Then we have some questions based on time period of a magnet and its frequency. Then there is a question based on time period of a bar magnet in a uniform magnetic field. Some question based on that. Then we have a question based on induced EMF using the concept of BV into length. Then we have some analytical points regarding the dual nature of radiations and matter, its introduction, the various points in the topic introduction. Then it's about photoelectric effect, the various points related to the topic. Then photons, their properties and implementations, and at last we have wave nature of light. Then we have the concept of dual nature of radiations and matter, various points related to them, photon property, various concepts like work function, photoelectric effect, threshold frequency, wavelength, its analysis, graphical variations. And then we have another worksheet on dual nature of radiations and matter, in which the discussion points are discussed. So NCRT, then NEET, PYQs, and then modules. Then we have certain questions on light as a particle, reflection and refraction, as a wave, conservation of momentum, then analysis of subjects for them. Then we have another categorization of dual nature of radiations and matter. The first is introduction part. Then it's photon theory of light, then photon electric current, then wave nature of electron. Then we have the quantum theory of light, the various postulates, properties of photons, the relation between energy, momentum, mass, and wavelength. Then we have the concepts related to photoelectric effect, the work function, the Kmax versus Vmax square, Kmax versus stopping potential. Then we have the concept of matter waves, the concept of de Broglie wavelength, its relation with mass, velocity, kinetic energy, and charge. And there are certain standard cases for calculation of de Broglie wavelength of charged particle, which is accelerated through a certain potential difference. So for electron it comes out to be 12.27 by root V naught angstrom. For proton it is 0.286 by root V naught. For deuterium it is 0.101 by root V naught. And for alpha particle it is 0.202 by root V naught. Then we have a standard question based on the fusion of uranium, its components into various terms, then calculations of the mass defect. And we have some question based on calculation of errors in volume of a given cylinder. And it's a question related to the time after which two bodies will strike. So there is a ratio of time ratio problem. Then we have certain questions based on the concept of induced EMF, basically the Lenge's law. Then there is a question on the calculation of apparent dip angle, and this is the expression for apparent dip angle. Then here we have a question based on calculation of tension and acceleration in a spring block problem. So this is acceleration of system and the calculation of tension. Then we have a worksheet based on the dual natures and properties of that. So first is quantum theory of light, various properties of photons like energy, momentum, wavelength, graphical variation, then Vibgyor spectrum, variation of wavelength, speed, frequency, energy, mass, momentum, and its comparison with the EM waves also. Then we have certain results related to the photoelectric effect, current versus intensity variation, current versus voltage variation, current versus voltage for different intensities, then at different frequencies. Then we have photoelectric effect conditions, then saturation current, KMX dependency, etc. Then we have another worksheet on the dual nature of matter and radiations. The first is on the quantum theory, graph between energy and frequency, graphical analysis, momentum and energy graph, momentum and frequency graph, frequency, wavelength and velocity graph, impact of increasing lambda on nu. Then we have graphs related to E is equals to mc square, famous Albert Einstein's equation, graph related to E and m, then momentum in relation with the mass, then energy versus lambda graph, energy versus 1 by lambda graph. Then we have various graphs related to the speed, wavelength and frequency of photons. Then we have certain questions based on the kinetic energy kmax versus energy of photon graph and its variation for different two cases. Then we have some worksheet on magnetic field, in which we have a true false based question, various questions based on magnetic field SI unit, dimension, direction of magnetic field to DL, maximum minimum condition, fill in the blanks type questions we have. Then we have another one-liner questions on the concept of magnetic field. Then we have another worksheet on magnetic field due to a line, true false type questions. So these are 1 number question. Vector dB is along R, perpendicular to R, true false statement, maximum minima conditions. Then we have certain questions based on values of magnetic field at different points, for infinite wire, for semi-infinite, for finite wire in different cases. Then we have variation of magnetic field due to a cylinder at different points along, at a certain radial distance p from it, at internal as well as external point. So various questions based on that. Then we have another worksheet on the concept of electric bulb. So this is a master question one time, true false type question, different cases, very simple questions. Then we have graphical based questions. Here these are the fill in the blank type questions of various values related to the electric bulb, resistance, percentage changes, doubling the applied voltage, power liberated, variation. Then we have one-liner questions on various quantities related to the electric bulb, like electric resistance, power versus P naught graph, power versus voltage graph, PR graph for different cases. Then we have another worksheet on the concept of electric potential. First is a true false type question. Electric potential is a scalar, vector, dimension, energy dimension, then various terms related to that. Here we have fill in the blanks type questions, various questions related to electric potential and potential energy, SI unit due to graphical based questions. And then we have one-liner questions for electric potential. Potential due to different points, electric potential is equipotential surfaces, potential due to point charge, then dipole, then holosphere, then solid sphere. So various questions based on that. Then we have another worksheet on speeds of gas molecule. So first question is true false type, and just like average velocity of gas molecules is zero, then on increasing temperature average velocity impact on that. So average speed decreases or increases. On doubling absolute temperature, average speed increases by about this percent. Various one-liner questions based on that, true false type question. Then we have fill in the blanks type question, basic questions, graph based questions. Then we have one-liner problems like calculation of RMS speed, average speed, most probable, average velocity for one atom, and on increasing temperature RMS speed. So various questions based on the manipulation of various speeds. Then we have another worksheet, true false based question from the chapter molar heat capacity of the gas. It is actually solved in itself. So these are true false based questions. Then the fill in the blanks type question based on dimensions of various physical quantities like capacitance, molar specific heat at constant pressure, constant volume, their difference, their division, various questions based on that. Then these worksheets are still left. Soon I'll be making videos on them also after completing them. Then we have another worksheet on true false based question on elastic potential energy, and these are certain fill in the blanks type question. So here the importance is why I'm making the videos. It's because the format in which you study, that is more important. And I think your mind brain system, when you actually solve something, when you actually study, your mind brain system is following a certain algorithm, following a certain pattern. And if that pattern is optimized for performance, only then it is of certain use. And main challenge with the students is when they try to reattempt the question, or when they try to revise the question or revise the topics, they are not able to retain what they studied. So it's because of lack of coordination between brain and the mind. So right now what you are studying, it's the information is going to your brain, and the brain is making certain patterns, and those patterns are being stored in your mind, firstly in the conscious, then subconscious mind, and then unconscious mind. But when you retain the information, the reverse process takes place. You retrieve information from unconscious mind, it first goes to the subconscious mind, then to the conscious mind, and at last to the brain. So this is the actual mechanism which takes place within you when you try to revise something, and you must have felt that you feel a bit uncomfortable when you try to retrieve information from the unconscious mind. That's why it's very easy to ask a question, because you ask in your comfort zone. But it's very hard to answer questions, because to answer, you have to retrieve information from the unconscious mind, which is very painful, which explain why most of the students, they just don't want to study, because study involves use of the subconscious mind, and initially our mind brain system is not adaptive to those higher frequencies, those high energy states. So what happens is your brain activates the flight mode, whose task is to save you from any problem. So you have to fight with your own brain, you have to fight with your own with the flight mode of the brain itself, because the brain does not know that you are studying, it's beneficial to you. It's only known to you that you are studying because to get a job, or to go to some prestigious institution, and it's beneficial to you, but at the later time, because the brain is designed just to make you survive. So it is not concerned with what you think in future, what will happen in future. It's just concerned with your temporary, with your the consciousness. It's concerned with your safety at the moment. So for studying, the first thing you need to have is to fight with your own brain itself. But you can learn these things by gradual working, and by working with a strong willpower. So if you repeat certain things a number of times, then brain will understand the mechanism, you will learn it better. This is how we learn things. Learning is initially very painful, but when you repeat those things after a certain number of times, and when that becomes a part of your automatic memory, things becomes very simple. So this is the basic concept of learning. So through the my worksheet, My purpose is to put the students to that exposure of revising things again and again, so that they become so comfortable with question answer session that exam appeals to them like a play. And it should be. Actually, when you are preparing for something, then before the actual match, you have to practice so much. You have to practice so much that it feels like a game to you. So that's the central concept behind making these videos, so that students are exposed to a number of problems of various ranges, various patterns, various formats. You must have seen that I change the format. I try my best to manipulate the patterns, so that you can ask any question. So my basis is working on the fundamentals of the mind brain system, working on the fundamental problems of what a mind brain system does to solve a particular problem. So I'm working on that algorithm, and I think this is a part of that algorithm. And if you learn in the form of worksheets or in the form of question answers, so initially you will feel some resistance from your brain. You will feel like not attempting to solve these questions. But if you can manage, if you can bypass your flight mode of the brain, then things are very easy. Studying in form of pattern, in form of revision mind maps, in form of worksheets, it develops your mind brain system, make you reveal the exact process which is needed to crack competitive exams. So the worksheets are just a mechanism to train your mind brain system for accessing the subconscious mind basically, and through that subconscious mind accessing information from unconscious mind and decoding the pattern asked in the exam and crack JE in it. If you have any doubt, you can ask in the comment section. Thank you and have a nice day.